Hey basketball coaches and players, today I'm going to give you some amazing and what I consider the best zone offense strategies that you could use. So let's get down to the clipboard and let's check these out because I know these are going to help you win a ton more games and score more points. Okay, so first, what we're going to be running up against is just a 3-2 zone defense. These strategies can be ran against any zone out there, unless it's like a weird quirky one like a box and one, triangle and two, or my Unbeatable or perimeter basketball defense book that you can purchase down below. Believe me, those defenses are amazing. Now, really quickly, the first two strategies kind of go hand in hand. So the first strategy is attack the paint. Try to get the ball inside of the paint because that's going to collapse the defense and open up the perimeter for three-point shots. Now, what does this also do for us? Well, by collapsing the defense, so by attacking the gap, so to know what I mean by a gap really quickly is in a zone defense, the defenders are guarding an area of the court and not an individual man. Now, for a 3-2, there's a couple of different ways to run it. These two players could be guarding just the posts, or technically I should say like this. Then some coaches will have player 2 guard that whole side as well as player 3. But generally speaking, most coaches will have players 5 and 4 guard those areas, player 2 and 3 will be guarding those areas, and player 1 will be guarding the top. That is kind of the basic version of it. Now, from there, these areas where the zones overlap, that is where there's going to be a double team. And that's what I mean by collapsing the defense. So by attacking a gap, you are collapsing the defense, which now has multiple other players who could be open. In this case, player 5 could be popping up top, and this could be an open three-point shot for either one of these players. Now at this time as well, what this could do for us is by collapsing players 1 and 3 together, we could have player 5 cut from the other side down the middle of the key, which is going to open up a possible layup, or again, because now we are getting a paint touch, this could collapse players 4 and 5. He could kick out for a three-point shot, or these players could be cutting baseline. Now, really quickly, what could happen here is when we get a paint touch, when you kick the ball out for a three-point shot, you really need to be looking to make the extra pass, which is another way, or I should say an addition to how to beat a zone. So by player 5 kicking the ball out to player 2, that's going to be rushing player 3 because he's the faster player out of the two to go down into that corner to guard player 2 from shooting that ball. But now player 2 could make that extra pass. Player 1 could pop back out. Player 4 could take that shot, but if that collapses player 1 out of his zone just to stop that three-point shot, again, we can now take a shot by player 1. Or if we are really messing up the defense for the other team and they're just scrambling at this point, player 2 will get out of his zone to cover that shot, and now we can swing it to player 3 for another shot or for another drive. Meanwhile, player 5 can go to the high post. We now have the defense all shifted over towards this side. Player 3 could then drive, and then player 4 could pop down and have player 5 take a mid-range shot. There are so many options. Just from attacking the gap and getting the ball into the paint, we have now created multiple opportunities to score. And we actually see the Toronto Raptors doing this an absolute ton this year. So whether you're going up against a 2-3 zone or a 3-2 zone, it doesn't really matter. This next strategy is also going to be helping you against any regular zone. And that is to get the ball into the high post. Now, why is this so effective? Well, let's face it. By getting that ball into that high post, we now draw up that baseline defender or that low defender. In this case, against the 2-3 zone, it would be player 5 because he is guarding the middle. Now, because of that, we can move player 4 down, and we now have a low block that is open. So what can we do here? Well, if we had player 3 moving down anyways, and now player 4 is going to be caught out of position because he's just trying to stop anything from happening on this side. He's probably looking in this direction. We can have player 3 cut baseline, go into that low post, and player 5 could pass down to player 3 for an easy layup. So by feeding that high post, it's becoming very beneficial on how to beat a 2-3 or a 3-2 zone. This is why I say to a lot of coaches, why are you worried about a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old basketball team running a zone? Because it's actually quite easy to beat a zone defense if you know what you're playing up against. So if you're a coach who's maybe just a new coach, or if you're a coach who is just trying to basically coach his kids and you keep on running up against a 2-3 zone, which is really popular right now with the 9 and 10-year-olds, or a 3-2 zone, all you really need to do, you don't need to try and stretch the players out to the 3-point line and say chuck up a whole bunch of threes that you're probably not even going to reach the rim with. You can just have a quick overload offense, something that's very simple. So by running a very simple overload, and what I mean by overload is this. So by having the ball up top, you're going to be having a trap up top. They're going to be trying to force that player left or right. Against the 2-3 zone, that's what's going to happen. Player 1 could take a dribble or two over towards this side to get player 4 the ball. Now that's going to be drawing up player 3. Player 1 goes down towards this corner. Player 5 pops up. The defense is going to shift so that now the defense goes like this. And now in this case, the high post is wide open. You can pass the high post the ball. He could take that shot if he could make it. And if player 5 red gets to him too fast, he can now just pass down, quick easy bounce pass to player 3, and that would be an easy layup. Now, I would instill in this player that he really needs to be moving and getting ready, because if player 4 moves over to defend player 3 because player 5 is maybe too slow, and at the younger age group, they're not going to learn to switch. Let's face it, if we're coaching up against 9-year-olds or 10-year-olds, they're not going to understand, hey, player 4 took my position, I need to go cover his. No, they're going to be going down and trying double team. Player 2 can cut weak side, and that would be an easy layup. At an older age group, that probably will not work, but at 9, 10, 11-year-old teams, that's going to get you probably 10 to 12 points a game. Easy if your team can hit layups. Now, if you're running up against a 3-2 zone, and you can see this is a nice simple play that you could draw up for pretty well any age group. You're going to have the ball on one side. You're going to have 2 players up top. You're going to have the center in the high post. This is going to be collapsing that defense on player 1 because he's in the middle of both of their zones. He's going to pass into player 5. That's going to draw player 5 up. And now player 4 is going to be cutting baseline for an easy layup. Now, you should be able to draw that up with most teams because it's actually quite a simple play to run. All you need to say is have 4 players spread out, 2 of which on the baselines, get the ball into the high post, cut baseline on the ball side. Simple. Now, at this time, any time you get the ball against a 3-2 zone and a lot of 2-3 zones, 2-1-2, a lot of those types of zones, if you can get that ball into the high post, any baseline cut's going to work extremely well on the ball side. If it's a 2-3 zone, however, it would be a lot better from the weak side. Now, I hope that this tutorial has helped you, and I hope it helps you beat more zone defenses. If it does, hit that like button, subscribe. I'll see you guys again next time.